What's going on, everyone? Jim Alexander here. And yes, you see it behind me. There's a reading happening, a tarot, or tarot, as they call it. That's the one thing I picked up from this movie. Is the movie here we're talking about tarot? I like calling it tarot. Either way, it's about those cards and the bad, evil stuff that lurks around them. So take a look at the trailer and we'll get going with my review of Tarot.
12 cards in the circle. One more at the heart. With this final card, your reading will start.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, this old deck's kind of strange.
Where did you find them?
It's an unspoken rule not to use somebody else's cards.
Who cares? Who's going first?
All right, guys, as you saw, looks like an awesome film, right? Yeah, it's pretty awful. This is one of the worst things I've seen this year. No joke. Where do I start with this mess? It's an absolute disaster. And I don't have high hopes or, crazy criteria for horror. I know this genre. This movie tries to be Final Destination in a way, just with tarot. It is not that. It is a Final Destination, Wish version, okay? Or Dollar General version, or whatever you want to call it. It is just a mess all over. And man, shame on Spencer Cohen and Anna Hallberg, the directors and writers of this film, because I don't know how you pitch this sort of mess. Like, where in the process does someone not notice that, oh, this is not good? And then when it's filming, whoa, this is bad. It's such a mess in every way. Man, I can't believe I watched this crap. Because and I like this genre. I am very forgiving of a horror movie, as long as it's got its elements. Yes, they could be cliche and whatnot, but this one just completely pisses on itself. So what is it about? Okay. A group of friends, they kind of go on a getaway. They're college students. I'll get into that in a second. And they rent out this shady old house and not knowing what to do there on this getaway that they plan, which sounds stupid as hell because they're just hanging out in a house in the middle of nowhere. They go to the attic and they find a box of tarot cards, right? Some ancient old ones. And since they have nothing to do with themselves because they're all boring and lame, they decide to uh, do a reading. And our main character here in the film, who's played by Harriet Slater, her name is Haley. And apparently she's enamored with tarot. Ironic, right? And she's gonna give everyone a reading. So this group of friends, there's 7 of them, including Haley, and she does the reading. And yes, a la Final Destination, each one of them who portion of their reading starts coming true, just in the most evil, worst way possible. So if you had a reading, they all do. Something bad is going to be happening and lurking for you, which the reading showed. But of course, she didn't tell him this would be a bad thing. Don't think she even knew. But yes, bad things are haunting you immediately on this group. And guess what? I could care less if they kill him off and how quickly they kill these characters off. Now, that's the premise of it. Pretty basic, and that might be actually the best part of this movie is that pretty basic premise, not hard to figure out. Um, let's talk about these characters. That's what I want to discuss. So, the actors that play these characters are as follows. Harriet Slater plays Haley, kind of the main group leader, the main person in the movie. Aiden Bradley plays Grant, her former boyfriend slash love interest that broken up with her, but now they're hanging out in this house together and part of the group friend. Jacob Batalon, most of you know him. He's probably the most recognizable face in this film. Is from the Spider-Man movies, you know, the companion from of course Peter Parker in the Spider-Man movies, Ned. So he's here in this movie. Avantika, who is a name in a sense. She also, if you saw the new Mean Girls movie, she was in that. So I guess she's probably one of the other more recognizable names for those of you who sort of follow, you know, Disney Plus and young adult fantasy and stuff she's been in. But she was in Mean Girls. And of course, she's a South Asian star. So if you're in that part of the world, you probably know her actually really well. Um, Humberly Gonzalez plays Madeline. Larson Thompson plays Elise. And Wolfgang Novogratz, great name, plays Lucas. Now, let me break down these characters. So you have the cliches here. One thing they got right here is it's a heck of a diverse like group of friends here, in every way, which is, I guess, fine and good. It gives something different, right? Not everyone is, um, same ethnicity or nationality. There's different backgrounds here in this group. But the problem with this group is they look absolutely like the Breakfast Club group. Just not that they're fun and cool and interesting, are all so different and they click and kind of gather here. This is a band of misfits that they're trying to make you at home or in a theater, wherever you're watching this crap, believe that these are close college friends. Now, first of all, they come off and act like high schoolers. I don't know why I didn't cast a little bit of a younger cast or maybe had them even play high schoolers, even though the idea was probably right because they look like, they'd be in college and whatnot. But they are so lame. This group is so immature. They're just biggest like losers in a way, and not in a cool way because they're supposed to be cool, right? Harriet's supposed to be this like, oh, cool chick. Um, Grant is like this sort of you know, this jockish character, skeptical but kind of too cool for school. Paxton, Jacob Batalon's character, is this annoying as hell. Uh, and I like him as an actor. He's good as Ned in Spider-Man. Here he was unbearable. Absolutely unbearable. Just annoying, saying it, just constantly running his mouth, saying constant nonsense, things that don't even make sense. He's in constant like paranoia over something. Just a very annoying character. And if he tried to go for it, he nailed it. But for us as the viewer here, super annoying and likable. We're supposed to root for this group. We're supposed to like him. They're anything but likable. Paige is sort of this like constantly scared individual and worried at all turns, and uh there's snot dripping down her nose constantly throughout the movie. I don't know why, but that's one thing of note. But she's sort of the flower, the sort of the flowery, uh, you know, don't hurt me. I'm terrified. I feel for everything. Empathetic, but just sort of in a way weak, and there's no endearing qualities besides she's sort of like a scared mouse. Uh, Humberly Gonzalez, Madeline, apparently she's got a thing for Lucas, and that's all I know about Madeline because there's not much more there that we see or learn. Lucas is absolutely um cookie cutter, uh just a cookie cutter, preppy white guy. I mean, I don't know. It's just such a lazy character writing here. And like a ultimate nice guy too, but he has kind of a look of a preppy jock, but he's just like the ultimate nice dude. It just doesn't even click and fit in that way. Like I said, and Larson Thompson, we don't see you long enough. You don't make it here. Oops, spoiler, sorry, not. To care or know much about you. But that's the characters that we were getting here. And how, as a watcher of this film, am I supposed to believe this group of ragtag misfits who seem all so different, but they're trying to sell us as they're like these cool close friends of each other. They're like these musketeers, one for all and all for one. Even though Haley and Grant have this little spat because of their relationship, but there's no way I would believe Paxton would hang out with Grant and be buddy buddies in the real world. They're just so unrealistic, these characters, and it bothered me. It bothered me watching this because I didn't believe for a damn second that these people would ever hang out, even if you put him into a detention like they did in the Breakfast Club, because they're just so different. There's no reason why anyone would hang out with Paxton. He's annoying. He constantly causes like issues in the group. He's shotting everything down constantly. He's just a guy, and he's just like a lame anime sort of geeky loser that no one else understands what he's talking about, and they're not interested in his interests. So why would they hang out with him? Why would he be such a part of their group when he would be probably much better off with the anime sort of crowd, or the geek crowd, and not this crowd who's trying to kind of portray themselves as these cool college kids, which they're not in any way. And none of them are likable, and none of them you care about rooting for them. Actually, it's kind of good to see them, get knocked off one by one, and kicking the bucket. Now, I'm not supposed to say that or like that because you're supposed to root for them and like them. Just completely unlikable. Not necessarily they're miscast actors, so I don't really blame the actors as much, really much at all here. It's just the writing is so atrocious and the directing is so bad. Everything's so unrealistic. If I was an actor here, especially like Jacob Batalon, why the hell would I not just walk off the set? I made a career in being in the Spider-Man movies. I've been seen worldwide. I don't want this nonsense to tarnish my career. I don't know whether it was a money grab. I don't know how much they funded for this thing. Whoever sold on this project, you should probably be in sales, or doing Ponzi schemes or something, because you convinced a studio to take on this absolute atrocity of a film. And I don't know how you did it. You did a great job of convincing them. The budget was $8.25 million, which is $8.25 million too much than what it should be. I don't know how it grossed 30 million worldwide. It made money. This is all puzzling. This is an awful movie. So, okay, now that we know, besides these characters, which is the most important thing, you want to like him, anything in the story could be happening that you might not connect with, but you should be connecting with these characters. Can't do it. Won't do it. Now, the plot. The killings come quickly. Now, are there some creative ways? Yeah, I'll give them a little bit of credit here. That they had some maybe borderline interesting or potentially cool killings here, at least a few of them. As we see these characters knocked off one by one. Um, and do these villainous creatures that we see, these monsters that appear on the cards and then they come to life, do they look cool from far away? I think when we had some of them, when we see them from far away, they kind of look cool. The closer you get, not as impressive or cool, but the idea of them, I guess, coming to life is kind of not bad, right? So on that part, I guess they didn't completely fail. They at least were creepy looking, uh, pretty menacing, and of course, they created a lot of destruction. So each one had a card and their own villain, and the villain came for them. So okay, I'll give them credit for kind of individualizing the killers here. It's not the monsters, not one. It's different looking, and some of them sort of interesting looking. All right, non-failure. Congratulations, because everything else is a failure. Like I said, then if you want to go to dialogue, it's absolutely bad and atrocious. These don't feel like real people. They don't feel like real college age, young adults. They don't feel like high schoolers. I wouldn't believe them in any world, in any place. Not only that they'd be friends, but they would be talking to each other the way they do. It's just such unrealistic, stupid dialogue. Now, most of this happens at night. We don't see much of daylight, so all this goes on one by one at night. Um, Another problem here is when they all start dying off one by one. I'll spare that for you who goes in what order. But the more that they get killed off and the more they realize that this is part of this tarot reading, the less they seem to care about their bond of friends that they, are so close to. It's like, oh, he's gone. Okay, well, what's up next? What do we do next? How do we stop this? They find some ridiculous astrologer that supposed to help them. They just find her, literally probably driving distance. They research her. She's driving distance. She's supposed to be one of the best at figuring things out, and they just come up to her house. I don't know how realistic that would be. Oh wow, I think the location here is somewhere around Boston. Seems like it. There's like a shot of the arena that the Celtics play in. So I'm assuming this was around Boston that this story takes place. Wouldn't matter because you don't see any people in this movie besides this group of friends. You'll be hard pressed to see any moving cars. It's like in a post-apocalyptic world. You don't see any human life really. No one. Okay, so you see sometimes the ambulance come and take away, or the news announce that one of these kids is dead or missing. That's it. They just appear conveniently, human life around them. Otherwise, everything is bleak. There's no human life around them. They're constantly, they're driving on a highway. They're literally stuck on a bridge, on a populated bridge. They're the only car there. There's no one passing by. There's no one driving by, no one to help or see. Even though when they're about to die, they do go into this realm of a dimension of universe where it's only them, and it's like a dream. The best way to describe it is a dream sequence. Before they're about to get killed, the character enters sort of a dream sequence where they're one-on-one with their killer, basically, and everyone around them sort of fades away, disappears. That dream sequence isn't really explained, but you catch on the more you see these kills happen. So there's like a one-on-one. It's like a video game where you get to the boss stage and everything else shuts down and just you and the boss in a video game. That sort of thing. So in this dream sequence, they get killed off. Interesting. No one else can see it and know how suddenly they're on a bridge and then they're inside a dream sequence with nothing else around. How did they transport to it? There's just so many plot holes and things to trip you up in this movie in a bad way, not in a good way. Not where you're like, oh, this is intriguing. Let me figure this out. No, you don't want to figure out. It's exhausting and it's just too stupid to figure it out in any way. Now, what else can I say about this movie? What worked? Nothing really. Like I said, once the script is this terrible and just misfires all over the place, everything just kind of falls in between, falls falls order in a sense, falls order like a domino. Because nothing works here. By the end of it, it's such a clusterfuck that you don't care, obviously, who's alive. And I actually found myself rooting for all of them to be killed off. I thought that would have been the best ending. Sorry to disappoint you. Of course, few survive. So, yeah, I don't feel bad about spoiling anything about this movie because I want to dissuade you from seeing it because it's this bad, and I wouldn't want to go through it again. I don't know how they made something out of 90 minutes of this. I really don't. That is probably a feat in itself. But these characters are so unrealistic, so unlikable. By the end, like I said, I was rooting for them all to be killed off. At least that would have added some intrigue maybe to the end. Of course, they find a way to prevail. Uh, I won't spoil that part if it matters. But yeah, it just like you see, I don't know if you can say you see things coming because it's so obvious what's going to probably happen. You probably hope it doesn't happen, what you're hoping, what you think is going to happen in that sense. So it's just a mess. I can go on and on about this film, but the big takeaways are how incredibly unrealistic this group of friends is, how bad the 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 dialogue is, the story is, makes the actors bad too because they're spewing these lines and just kind of it seemed like they were in an acting class, like beginning acting class, and they're just like shouting out monologues and random lines. Like some acting teachers, I'm like, go crazy. And that's what they did in this movie. It's just these actors are above all that, even though they're fairly unrecognizable, a lot of them. They're still sort of up and coming potentially, although this might stop their career trajectory. Hopefully not, but maybe it does. Picking back projects will do that to you, and you might have to recognize that going forward. But yeah, it's bad. It's bad on every account. So let's do grades. That's probably the most fun part here, right? All right, acting. What are we gonna give this? Do I blame the actors all the way? No, but it's pretty bad. So they follow direction, and it wasn't good direction. Acting is a 2. I'm giving him some grace and mercy here because I know it wasn't up to the actors. Entertainment. Oh boy, the favorite part. Maybe if you're into some of the kills or seeing these creatures come to life, um, or you want to entertain yourself literally by hoping it's better. Yeah, I'm giving this a 2 also out of 10. Story plot. What story plot? What? There's a story or plot here? Absolutely. Okay, so there is at least a plot here or story, a semblance, an attempt for it. Okay. And the execution is absolutely batshit crazy and bad, but at least there is something coherent enough where you kind of know what's happening or what this is about. So I'm actually going to be generous on that one. And for the story and plot, I'll give it the highest score of this film, which is 3 out of 10. Okay. Since they at least had a direction and didn't completely confuse the hell out of you. It's pretty basic and straightforward. Impression. Well, it gave a great impression to me, right? About how bad it was. I was very motivated to tell you guys to avoid it. So I'm guessing they're not hoping for that sort of impression. So if it's supposed to leave a good impression on you, if you're into bad impressions, that could be a high score. If you're trying to get an impression of this movie leaving something good with you, then this would not. And that's why the impression it gave me is an absolute 1 out of 10. And creativity. Did we get creative here? Like I said, the only element of creativity is maybe the way they individualize these creatures and monsters. So from completely failing, I'm giving that the only creativity in this movie, and that's a 2 out of 10. And you know what? I will be generous enough to split it and give it 2.5 out of 10. How about that? 2.5 out of 10 because there's a few kills there that are somewhat decent. So 2.5 out of 10. This movie gets a 3 as its highest score. Imagine that. Like, I think we know what territory we're embarking here with Terrell or Terror because it doesn't really matter what the name of it is. It's a disaster in every way. And sometimes disasters are beautiful. This one is not in any way. Um, and that's very unfortunate for any of us who see it, who went to see it. I feel bad because there could have been you could have made a movie that's not good, but you still could have made it bearable or watchable. This one is not. So that's the unfortunate part about it, that you could have made it like a genre movie. Like we've seen many of these, and a lot of them are not good. Okay, but that's not the whole point. At least it gets us through them, right? But when this one doesn't allow you to get through anything, um, that's the problem. That we don't even care to get through it, and then it just constantly disappoints as you move on. So, yes. Whew. Okay, great time. When we do those scores, right? Usually out of 100. So we are getting a 21% movie here. This is probably the lowest score I've given. Wow, I had to do the math over again here right now just to make sure. A 21%. That's pretty bad territory here. Yeah, we don't want to be in that territory. Any movie here getting that 21%, one of the worst reviewed movies. Um, I've seen. I don't need to go into details about the rest, like, ooh, how was the cinematography, or ooh, how was the sound? Does it matter when it's unwatchable? Nothing succeeded. It's a team effort of a loss, a big loss. So that's what it is. But you know what's not a loss? You subscribing. So please click that subscribe button and support me and this channel. Much appreciated if you do that. So please subscribe if you can. Helps out someone. At least we can help out someone here because this movie's not, there's no way of helping it. Also, thumbs up if you like this review at least. Oh, there it was, a little thumbs up thing. Well, that's cool. There you go. Bam. Uh, Look at that. It showed up for me. I like it. It's listening to me, the software. And of course, comment. Please comment if you've seen this atrocity. If you're planning to see it, tell me what dissuaded you from it. Hopefully, I did, potentially, because it's not going to be an enjoyable experience in any way. Unless you like seeing train wrecks, then maybe, yeah, go see it in that case. If you like train wrecks just for the hell of it, sort of a sick, twisted way of seeing something, go ahead, do it. But leave a comment also on what you think about this. And follow me on social media at the Jim Alexander. And that's on TikTok, X, and Instagram, which is also the same place where you can follow me on my other social media. And that's at The Real Talker. So check me out there. Follow, and hopefully the next review is much better. I don't want to see this bad again. Tarot, Tarot fails. Don't pick a card. Keep them away. Or maybe pick a card and hope this movie never happened. That could be a good choice. All right. Until next time, I'm Jim Alexander for Real Talker, and I am out.